well, and then I'm gonna go live. Okay, I'm pressing live.
Okay, hello and welcome. Tuesday, and today what's alive is we have the first gene key, the first gate in transit. I think we're in the 5th line. Tomorrow's the last day that we're going to be in there, inside this energy of the spark. And yeah, we've been diving into this in our Portals of Deconditioning course, and it is located inside the identity center, but it does definitely bring you like deep into the body if you are noticing and aware of that, the different states, whether it's entropy, freshness, or beauty. So it does feel like very, like it could have access to the root, even though it doesn't at all. It just feels like it can be grounded somehow. And I guess that depends on where you're going to put that spark, through you or down into you. I'm not sure, but I definitely am feeling it very viscerally during this transit. What about you?
Yeah, I was waiting for my period for 5 days, and that's never happened in my life before. And I felt it a bit like that. You know, when you are in entropy and you're waiting for creativity, you want that to spark, you want life to flow. And I was like, why? Why is this taking so long? It's never taken more like than a half day. And I think that it is that thing you can't, there are things in life that you can't control and that need to spontaneously spark through you, and that's the creative process that sometimes we want to control. And actually I feel that similarly to the courses that we are launching, and sometimes we have no enthusiasm to even speak about them, but then mentally we know that, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to speak about it, we need to make people come in with us. And I think as a generator, I am tired of pushing things, and I'm tired of doing things when I have resistance to doing them. And at the same time, I know that sometimes when I push myself spontaneously, also something is coming. So I feel like I'm a little bit in that situation where it's hard to know. Do I push a little bit to see if there's something that comes spontaneously? Do I kind of completely surrender? What's the best? It's almost like attitude is what we learned from Richard Rudd. That's the difference between the shadow and the gift. But I almost don't really know what attitude to take to certain things. And I even feel sometimes I'm like influencing you with my attitude, but I'm not sure that my attitude is the right attitude.
Yeah, I don't know either. The attitude and the altitude, your altitude is a matter of your attitude. And I know that for me, I just feel like so like not energized. So like I could go to sleep. I could take a nap. And I mean, I can't just do that. So it's just interesting, like, how do you rally? And I feel like we learn this more from people who have emotional authority, people who have the defined emotional center. They got to rally so much. I know that my friend Vanessa, she's a defined emotional authority. Sorry, she is an emotional authority, has a defined solar plexus center. And she is a rallier. She'll be like, all right. She has to like make herself, she has to fake it until she is it. And then she like rallies everyone around her. She has like the 3955 channel. And there's just something where she's gonna poke you until you like laugh or smile. And she just wants to have a good time. And she's like, okay, let's raise everybody's spirits. Like she wants to poke your spirit, you know, that's her That's her goal. That's her mission. She is the cross of provocation. She's here to provoke. And I remember reading about the 39. I was talking about like, you're gonna do nothing and still provoke people. And those just aren't your people necessarily. You know, it's like you'll find the people that are your people. And sometimes that provoking is needed. And sometimes that provoking, all the time, that provoking is needed. You know, it's bringing something to the surface that needs to come out. And so it's really good to be triggered. It's really good to have a reaction and a response to something or somebody, someone, you know, and she's a 2-4. So she's also like just being herself, and she gets called out for being herself. And it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. I feel for her sometimes, but she has a way. And I think that we can learn so much from the defined emotional people, because they have to learn how to like be with the moods and be with the wave. And I think they have more experience with it than people that say have an open solar plexus center.
Yeah, I think with an open solar plexus center, we feel like we always need to show up in a certain way, and it needs to be polished, and we can't have bad days. Like, I think with an open emotional center, we judge that kind of wave more, and we force ourselves sometimes to show up in a certain way. And I also feel what I was seeing yesterday when we were starting to speak about the root center, and we had decided and we felt that the way of going into it wasn't through the mind, the way we do it often in human design or even in Gene Keys, a theory, and then we try to feel it. We wanted to go into it through the body, and then we kind of found ourselves still speaking around it. And it's almost like that we judge the body, the feelings, the emotions, we judge all this as not good enough. So we can't really sit on a call and be in the shadow of entropy all the time, or in the emotional wave, or in the senses of the body. We feel like we need to do something. And that for me actually feels more like the shadow, the reactive shadow of the one, which is the frenetic. We need to fill the time with something. If we don't have enough information about the root center in our course, well, then we don't value it ourselves. So how is anybody else going to value it? And I see that it's harder said than done. And especially, I feel like 2 years on Zoom, like, how do you even do it in energy? How do you even do it from the body? Like, does anybody even know what happens with me, like under my chest? You know, nobody has ever seen me under my chest. Nobody has really seen me move either. And that's a huge part of me. The only thing you see is this kind of coherent person, but there are so many parts of me that aren't shared that probably have a lot of beauty to who I am, you know?
Yeah. What do your legs want to say right now, Bella?
What does what?
What do your legs want to say right now, Bella? We never see your legs, and maybe they have something to say. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the time that we live in, and it is difficult to kind of enter in through the body when a lot of what we have valued and other people have valued in the past is like the information and the stuff that we can learn and know and read and understand. And like, I think that it just takes a little bit of push and like focused energy and effort, because you start to get on autopilot and you start to have a way of teaching and a way of delivering and a way of consuming and understanding things that entering in the opposite way doesn't make sense. And it's almost like that frustration can go there. You can go to that frustration because like, you know how you learn, or you know how your preference, you know. And I feel like that's a way of boxing yourself in too. There's nothing fresh and new that can come from repetition over and over and over and over again. I think that allowing new experiences and like entering in through a different way is also going to give you, you know, something that you didn't even expect. And I think that's what we're kind of hoping to kind of uncover in this way, is like, what is possible when you start with the body.
And I think I want to bring that back to the 39, because the 39 is provocative. And you said 39 is about finding your people, because not everybody's going to be, some people are going to be provoked and not want to be around you. And I see that in the process of deconditioning that we are doing in our course portals of deconditioning, that it has been to do things even if they are not the way we're used to, even if they're uncomfortable. And I think for us, you have an open throat and an open emotional, I have an open emotional and open ego, that often we are listening into the field, like, what do they want from us? How can we make them happy? How can we give value to them? And now I can see that half through this year of deconditioning, it's almost like we are feeling, okay, if this is the process that we feel is the process that we want to hold here and that we trust, we are not so much asking what do they want from us, but like something different, like what does this process want from us? How can I serve this process, even if it's, you know, some kind of uncomfortable, and even if I feel provoked, you know, even by my own behavior somehow. But that is what I felt the last Tuesdays in Portals of Deconditioning, that I need to not ask what people want. I need to ask, what am I a vessel for? And that for me is very much the first gene key. It's like, what wants to come through me? It's not to be a people pleaser. That's something that I do know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that with what you said, the intention, or the like, not asking what do they want from me, I feel like having so much Libra in my chart and it being prominent in me, I'm kind of like this people pleaser in a way. Like, I just want there to be balance and I want everyone to be happy. And it's like, well, how do I need to change myself to kind of bring that balance or whatnot? And like that simple question, like, what do I need to be a vessel for? That I feel is, I want to enter in that way. And I think that when you have that intention and you speak it and then you keep reminding yourself of it, you can't betray yourself, because it's like there and you're like, all right, this is my focus. But we forget, you know, because we go on autopilot. And I think that's also what we're trying to do in the inner circle and going through Thrive by Design, because it's about deconditioning and it's about like reprogramming. And we get into these habitual, like conditioned patterns where we know how easy it is to move in this direction. Like, I had something that happened last night and it was just so easy to go in that direction because it was conditioned, because it's like my whole life, my whole relationship, that's how I operated. And like to be called out in that thing that's not serving the relationship, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Because like when I stop focusing on it, I go there. And it's like when we stop focusing and concentrating, we go there. And that's like part of the root center too. It's like, I don't have the 52 or the 9 that focus. I'm like, squirrel. And so it's so easy for me to go back into my patterns. And then I see it, I'm like, dang, gosh darn it, the train is leaving the station, we're gonna crash, like, but I can't help it. So it's difficult. And that's kind of where we're going in Thrive by Design. We were in the root, like we were saying, and it's like, we just did the root embodiment webinar yesterday, and the night I had an experience with it. I'm like, gosh, it's like, I love how quickly I manifest, but sometimes it's like, what am I getting myself into with this instant manifestation of like, oh yeah, here, look at this is something to work on. And I'm like, all right, thanks for showing me. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I just feel like that was the thing with my moon cycle, waiting for 5 days and waiting. And I was changing some appointments because, so it was all that thing. And that's also, I don't get to decide. And we are in the first gene key. And this is really where we can't force anything. It's like, it is about accepting if we are in the void and we don't know, that's kind of where we need to be. And even to check in with the void a little bit more often, because often we are putting so much in. And I think that's the thing what we're seeing in our courses, in our groups too, like the silence. We are always filling the silence with something where somebody is. So how can we also foster this culture where silence is okay, where space is okay, where everything doesn't need to be jammed in? And I do admire teachers that are having that in their teachings and that don't feel intimidated by the silence. So I feel for me that's something that I want to work on the coming weeks, and knowing we're going into the 43 to tomorrow or after tomorrow, which is that we need silence in order for the epiphanies to come in. When there's noise all the time, there's also deafness all the time, and then nothing can really, like the lightning rod, it can't hit. So I feel it's important for me to allow some space, allow some silence, and not like even, you know, the bodily functions, we can't really push them. Or when something is ready to spark in a relationship, then we need to allow that. And so cool that you could kind of, you know, catch yourself in that cycle. You don't have the 9:52, but you have the 42:53. So you could catch that cycle and maybe not doing it the same way.
Here it is coming again. Yeah. And last week I pulled a card. It was the Bardo. I just feel like that is this place that I'm in and that we're in when you do end up going into the void. And there's something that I've caught as well with the silence and the uncomfortableness and the silence, like what can I grab that's like of value? But there's a discernment that happens in the Bardo. You can get so many ideas and get so excited. Oh, here's something to say. Here's something to say. But it's like, I think that when you're in the Bardo, there's also this discernment because it's a new cycle. If you're in the Bardo and the void and the gap and whatever, the next thing you choose is your next cycle. So be discerning on what you feel like you're pulling through. It's like, don't get so uncomfortable in the Bardo. You're like, oh, I better take this because something else isn't going to come along for another 30 minutes. So I might as well take this, you know? And it's like, what if that is not what you're waiting for? And you're like, oh.
Yeah, so Bardo, remember when we die 72 hours before the soul can leave in the right way. So maybe a death process needs a bit of silence, needs a bit of space for whatever needs to die so that the new thing can come in. So it feels like
I wish I had more time and space to like have a 72-hour silent retreat where Ashley doesn't talk at all. Like, what the hell would that be like? I don't know, but maybe I should try.
I think that would be hard. If you can't even be creative, like, I don't know how you would do it. You would kind of explode or something, implode.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'll just be observing everything pass by, the thoughts, the feelings, like, yeah, now it's gone. You know, I don't know. I have never done that, but that card that I pulled, I'm like, 72 hours, huh? Can I do that? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe I should try. All right. Well, yeah, I hope this transit has gone well for you. And if you feel called or drawn to anything that we spoke about, you can reach out to us. We have the inner circle where we're doing Thrive by Design. So that's a journey into the human design centers, which we call hubs. We're in the root center right now. So if foundation and stability has been coming up for you, then maybe that's your sign to like come in. And then today was our portals of deconditioning day. And every week we meet to sit in the shadow, it seems like, and really be with that. So every single transit we meet to talk, and there's a bunch of resources inside of each of the courses. And there's a course for every single door, every single archetype. So, and we're already halfway through, which is amazing, like more than halfway through. So if you're interested in any of those, reach out and we'll get you the info for that. But thanks for tuning in and joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.